Caitlyn tried to flop. She tried to flop on what happened. Like, that little shoulder bump, it was not that serious. Okay, Caitlyn, I need you to be all the way serious and for real, okay? You fell down. The first thing you did is, whether it's your privilege, whatever it is, but you're weaponizing how people view you and are talking about you when you say something like that.
And this is a WNBA reporter, people, but it's like you can't say something like this and not get called out. And she is definitely getting called out. And Natalie Esquire is not new to putting down the efforts of Caitlin Clark and what she has accomplished in the previous season. Natalie Esquire also claimed that Caitlin Clark was stat padding. She's also a big Aces fan.
It started with one reckless sentence from an ESPN reporter, one that twisted Caitlin Clark's name, distorted her intentions, and set social media on fire.
Caitlyn tried to flop. She tried to flop on what happened. Like, that little shoulder bump, it was not that serious. Okay, Caitlyn, I need you to be all the way serious and for real, okay? You fell down. The first thing you did is, and you look to the damn ref to give you what? That's what happened. That's what she always does, right? She's always falling to the floor, and then people acting like it's mad hard. Pay attention to what she did in college. That is what she did. She's from the LeBron school, the Luka school, the Harden school. They try to sell fouls, right? I would say that her coach did not do a good job preparing her for the physicality of what was to come and what to expect in the WNBA. So yeah, I'm kind of saying, like, this is not that deep. It's a little hip check.
Within hours, it snowballed into a storm of lies, clickbait headlines, and hate-filled narratives that had nothing to do with who Caitlyn really is. But this time, she didn't just walk it off. She hit back, hard. In a shocking turn of events, Caitlin Clark has allegedly filed a lawsuit against the reporter responsible.
He was asked about Caitlin Clark.
Coach Krzyzewski, listen to what he said.
Yeah, well, she's terrific. And it'd be easy to build something on her because she's very young. The best thing she does is pass. She's a magical passer, and she has a great feel for the game. So, I mean, what her coach did, I would have done exactly what she did. Make sure she handles the ball, and she'll make everybody better. And what I was amazed with at how she's handled all the defenses. And then when she got into the WNBA, some of the negativity that was out there or jealousies. And I think she's just been remarkable. She's a really good basketball player. Yeah.
Accusing them of spreading fake news with the power to damage not just her career, but her legacy. And now, the entire sports media world is scrambling to clean up the mess. What really happened? Why did Caitlyn sue? And how did one false report turn into a national scandal? Let's break it down.
Now Caitlin Clark has been getting comparisons to the most famous person in the world at this point in time, Taylor Swift. White was giving a comparison to the star status of Caitlin Clark, and she stated this precisely. She said, quote, "She's incredibly humble. She understands the big picture. So she views it understanding her celebrity. She's a Midwest kid, a Midwest person, and she is who she is. She tries to live her life in an authentic way, but she's very much Taylor Swift 2.0.
It all began with an offhand remark that should have never made it past the ESPN editing room. The reporter, whose name is now being dragged across social media, went on air and implied that Caitlin Clark was purposely distancing herself from her black teammates to chase a white savior narrative.
Caitlin Clark's popularity is tied to her whiteness. What Nike and Caitlin Clark are known for as of right now is the fact that they have set on Caitlin Clark as what is their most valuable asset. How great would Asia be if she didn't have that mentality? Because she can play. She plays all the time. Nobody watches.
It was a statement loaded with assumptions, a dangerous blend of race, image, and intention, all tied up in a single soundbite designed to go viral. And it did. Within minutes, that clip started circulating on Twitter, Reddit, and sports blogs, igniting a firestorm of debates that had little to do with basketball and everything to do with identity politics.
You know, I don't know what it is about Angel Reese, but there's been sort of this narrative that started about, like, the way she dresses. Like, she's always showing too much of her body. It's her body, and it's an amazing body. And if she wants to show it off, she's allowed to do that. The crown she wears is heavy. The way, to me, I think, considering all that comes at her, I think she's handled herself gracefully.
But what made it worse was the confidence with which it was delivered, as if this wasn't just commentary, but fact. People started picking apart Caitlyn's past interviews, game footage, even her old social media posts, looking for evidence to support the narrative.
She was remarkable, on top of the fact that she had to deal with so much hate when she got to the WNBA.
Accusations piled up quickly, none of them rooted in reality, But that didn't matter. The internet wasn't asking for truth. It wanted outrage. And Caitlin Clark, the NCAA's golden star and fan favorite, suddenly found herself the target of an agenda she never asked to be a part of. For a while, she stayed quiet, hoping the noise would fade. But it didn't.
Frankly, Caitlin Clark is the best point guard in the history of the WNBA already. Caitlin Clark had tied the WNBA record for most career games with 25 points and 10 assists. No one is scoring and dishing at the rate Caitlin Clark is in the history of the WNBA.
The ESPN segment kept airing, fueling more headlines. Fan accounts reposted it, influencers chimed in, and suddenly Caitlin's image was being rewritten in real time by people who didn't even know her.
But I love my teammates so much that I will take any hit from them. Good, bad, ugly. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try to be the best. I get y'all saying best player in the world. That's great. It looks great.
I think it's a huge thing. I think a lot of people say it's not about black and white, but to me, it is. It's really because you can be the top notch at what you do as a black woman, but maybe there's something that people don't want to see. Wilson said to the Associated Press.
One of the more interesting aspects of this fanhood is that some of the biggest supporters of Caitlin Clark are not whites. They're actually black males.
Us as black women, Paige reminds me a lot of you. Like, you say you're not really about me. And she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point. And also, like, she's good at basketball. But, like, she understands her privilege and like, pushes her over the top in a sense. It reminds me a lot of you. And I mean, that's a compliment.
And I think in overall popularity, does her race play a factor? Nominal. Women's basketball has had a cornucopia of talented white and black women's basketballers. Elena Delle Donne is white, is she not? Sue Bird, white, is she not? Asia Wilson's black. Cynthia Cooper, black. Like, you can go back through, and it's actually a lot more. There's gay and there's straight. There's black and there's white. There's tall and there's short.
The pressure mounted, not just from fans, but from sponsors, teammates, and even her coaching staff, all waiting for her to respond.
She could have just said, hey, y'all lay off Caitlin Clark. Let's embrace her. But nope, her frail-ass ego was jealous of Caitlin Clark's popularity.
Behind the scenes, Caitlin's team was reportedly furious. This wasn't just mischaracterization. It was character assassination. Legal experts were called in. Every line of the ESPN broadcast was reviewed. And that's when things shifted. According to sources close to the situation, Caitlin's camp wasn't just considering a statement or a PR cleanup. They wanted accountability. They wanted the reporter to face consequences for what they saw as deliberate defamation.
She hasn't just had a major impact on the WNBA. She's had a major impact on the entire city of Indianapolis. Dr. Ryan Brewer calculated that Clark has made the city of Indianapolis $36 million in her rookie season. The calculation showed that Clark contributed to 26.5% of the WNBA's economic activity this season. If pay raises are in order, Caitlin Clark needs to be the first one getting a pay raise.
Because this wasn't just gossip. It had real consequences on her image, on her mental health, and potentially on her career. And for Caitlin, enough was enough.
Natalie Esquire says, Chelsea Gray is the best point guard in the WNBA. That hasn't changed because she has a down year returning from injury. The disrespect on her name was ridiculous.
There's been a lot of chatter out there that I ain't got it, man. I'm here, man.
But is she better than Caitlin Clark? Statistically, nope.
Natalie, I believe it said last year that a compromised Chelsea Gray was 10 times better than Caitlin Clark.
Natalie Esquire also claimed that Caitlin Clark was stat padding. She's also a big Aces fan. When the Aces were losing and they got Chelsea Gray back and they went on a really hot streak, after one game of winning, Natalie Esquire put them from number 6 to number 1 in beating the Liberty, which obviously was not really a good take.
The moment word got out that Caitlin Clark was taking legal action, everything changed. What had initially been dismissed by some as just another hot take spiraled into a full-blown media crisis. Behind closed doors, ESPN's legal department kicked into high gear. While the network refused to issue a public statement right away, insiders say meetings were held late into the night.
Let's get into the stat. Best point guard in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark. In her one professional season in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark came away with an average of 19.2 points 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds for the season. Let's check out Chelsea Gray's stats. Chelsea Gray averaged 8.6 points, 2.9 rebounds, and 4.9 assists. But let's check out the year before. She did average 15.3 points a game. Not bad, right? She averaged 4 rebounds and 7.3 assists. Still is not better than Caitlin Clark's averages. 2021, 11.1 points. 2020, 14 points. 2019, 14.5. There is not one year where she averaged more points than Caitlin Clark. There is not one year where she averaged more assists than Caitlin Clark.
Lawyers were consulted. Damage control strategies were drafted. They knew this wasn't going to be easy to brush off, not when the face of women's college basketball was now accusing one of their own of maliciously distorting the truth. The lawsuit, according to those familiar with the matter, alleges that the ESPN reporter knowingly broadcast false information with the intent to harm Caitlin's reputation. Her legal team wasn't just going after a careless comment. They were building a case around defamation, character damage, and the psychological toll it took on her.
For me, if Rookie of the Year was picked today, I give it to Angel. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it. If Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. Yeah, that'll go in the record books as Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be.
I set the record in 5 games, right?
Yeah.
Because back then, we had a first-round bye.
Oh,
so
okay.
we didn't get to play, I didn't get that 6 games. So I set the record in 5 games.
Bigger extra game.
Well, I'm just saying.
You can say that.
No, listen. If I have 6 games,
The record's different.
well, I'm going to have another 30. But I don't really care what the record is, who has the record.
And it wasn't a bluff. This wasn't just about correcting the record. It was about making an example. Caitlin wasn't going to be another athlete whose story got twisted for views. She was going to fight back, and she was doing it in the one language media giants truly understand. Legal action. The reporter at the center of it all suddenly found themselves in the crosshairs of more than just public opinion. They were now facing potential professional fallout. Rumors began swirling that ESPN was considering disciplinary action behind the scenes. Some even speculated that the reporter had been temporarily pulled from on-air duties, though the network remained silent on the matter.
Number one factor in her popularity is her ability and how entertaining she is to watch. That's why she's become internationally popular. That's why the record books have her name at the top of them.
And Natalie Esquire is not new to putting down the efforts of Caitlin Clark and what she has accomplished in the previous season. 7 months ago, when the season was in, Natalie Esquire also claimed that Caitlin Clark was stat padding and posted this on her social media account. Are we going to be upset tonight that Caitlin tried to chase the franchise assist record when the game was already won? I have no issue with her doing it because that's normal behavior and actually what many competitors do. This was obviously in her response to a lot of people going off about Angel Reese's double-double stat padding.
What made the situation more volatile was how quickly public sentiment began shifting. Just days earlier, some fans had bought into the controversy. But now, with Caitlin taking a legal stand, people started revisiting the clip with fresh eyes. Was it taken out of context? Was the narrative intentionally inflammatory? Had the reporter gone too far?
There's been a lot of chatter out there that I ain't got it, man. I'm here, man. So, quiet the noise and keep playing my game. Having fun and doing it. I enjoy this game and I love it so much. So, playing with them all the time and they got my back, so having fun.
Prominent voices in the sports world began weighing in. Former athletes, analysts, and even rival coaches expressed concern over the recklessness of media narratives that seem to target high-performing women, especially those who don't fit neatly into the expected mold. Some defended Caitlin, calling her response brave and necessary. Others accused her of being too sensitive, saying criticism comes with the territory.
We've got ESPN's ranks of WNBA players right now, and Caitlin Clark is really damn high. Angel Reese ain't nowhere to be found in the top 10. She's not involved. Well, wait a minute now. I was told Angel Reese was like one of the absolute best players in this league. Where is she? She was not in the top 10. I thought, oh, shit, her fans are really going to be mad about this. They're going to be twisted off.
But what those critics failed to recognize was that this wasn't criticism. It was a coordinated character attack wrapped in the authority of a respected platform. And Caitlin wasn't standing up just for herself. She was drawing a line for every athlete who's been reduced to a headline, misquoted, or used for clicks without any regard for the truth.
The WNBA has never even been talked about in the past. So now to say that you have somebody whose celebrity is as mainstream and as Taylor Swift, that is actually incredible if you think about it. She drew a WNBA record, 1.84 million viewers to her first playoff game against the Connecticut Sun. And the reason that this is important because this game took place on an NFL Sunday. To know that she did this up against NFL competition also speaks volumes. So after she was eliminated, the ratings, nowhere close to what the WNBA experienced with Caitlin Clark on the court. They drew an audience of 929,000 according to ESPN. That's 50% less audience members than the Fever's Game 1 against the Sun. We have seen a tremendous drop-off when Caitlin Clark is not on the court.
And while the lawsuit hasn't been publicly confirmed or denied by Caitlin's camp, the legal whispers were loud enough to spark a chilling effect. Suddenly, reporters across sports media started treading more carefully. You could feel it in the coverage. The tone shifted. The takes got safer. Nobody wanted to be the next one dragged into court over a reckless narrative. Even ESPN's subsequent segments on Caitlin Clark were noticeably more respectful, cautiously worded, and heavily fact-checked.
Jealousy and envy and delusion all mixed together. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're delusional. People are watching these games because of Caitlin Clark. Oh boy, if I say what I really think, these black women and these feminist white women are not going to sleep with me. And I may lose my job. They're going to come after my job. We're not in position to say, shut up.
36 million she drove to Indianapolis just by showing up as a rookie and making history. And so I understand her point of view. She wants to probably let other athletes shine. And she also says, like, it's earned, not given. There are other people that can use that spotlight to compete as well. So I think Caitlin, she moves because she knows people follow her no matter where she goes. And she's very strategic about dictating where her value is.
Whether or not the case goes to trial, Caitlin had already made her point. She wasn't going to sit back and let others define her story. And now the media knew it too. As the media scrambled to rewrite their scripts and distance themselves from the controversy, Caitlin Clark did something unexpected. She returned to the court and played some of the most focused, defiant basketball of her career.
I think that experiencing it, I love Caitlin Clark fans, but Caitlin Clark fans is different. They like, see square shots in the gang, like different. They are very passionate people and like they gonna ride or die. Like,
listen, Caitlin Clark is a god to her friends. She does no wrong. Do not play. Do not play with her fans.
Let's just say, see square, I'm happy I'm on the right end of it.
We on the right end of the stick, baby, because
I hate to be.
Listen, they love us right now. But if we go right and left, it's over for us.
Caitlin Clark fans, I love you back, I promise. Please stop. Like her fan. But like, the one thing I would say about Caitlin Clark fans that I can't appreciate, they'll go anywhere she go.
Oh, they gonna travel. She gonna travel.
And
right there. Right there
with her. Like, it's super dope though, because it's like they would literally go anywhere she go, and so she's built that kind of platform. And like, damn, that's lit.
No press conferences, no teary interviews, just game after game of letting her talent speak louder than the noise. But the lawsuit had already ignited something bigger than sports. It cracked open a conversation about the way female athletes, especially white women like Caitlin, who dominate in a space that has historically centered around different narratives, are portrayed in the media. And it forced the public to examine a bitter truth.
Right, and that's what a lot of these women are doing, is they feel like what we have done for this game, this young player has come into our game, and she's getting way more respect and all that stuff than we are. As she should. The young girl is a baller. The young girl has people watching because of the way she can shoot this basketball like Steph Curry. Steph Curry can't dunk. Steph Curry don't do none of that in the game. He can probably dunk by himself, but he don't really do none of that in the game. He is a shooter, and fans tune in to see Steph Curry. When I look at Caitlin Clark, fans are tuning in to watch her. And you know who that's helping? Everybody else. It's helping the Asia Wilsons. It's helping everybody else, the Plums, all that. It's helping all of them, the Taurasi.
Controversy sells, and too often, it's built on fiction. Online, the shift was obvious. The same voices that had once jumped on the bandwagon of slander were now retracting statements or conveniently going silent. A few bold ones doubled down, accusing Caitlyn of trying to silence the press. But that argument didn't hold. No one was above critique, but there's a difference between opinion and deliberate misinformation. And Caitlyn's team was determined to expose the difference.
Caitlin Clark being in the building, 1.1 million average viewers.
That's crazy. Just by her going to the game, it's the second most watched NCAA game. Like, that's crazy. That just shows how popular she is right now.
Fair enough. Like, if Steph Curry showed up somewhere, there would be more posts about Caitlin Clark showing up there. There are levels to fame, and the level of fame Caitlin Clark is at might be up there with the highest levels there are. That is impressive. She's a face of women's basketball, obviously. She ain't even play, and she still drew the most numbers. It is actually scary how much of a draw Caitlin Clark is as a player.
The lawsuit itself reportedly included screenshots, timestamps, and behind-the-scenes footage proving that the narrative spun on ESPN wasn't just misleading, it was manufactured. Her legal reps argued that the clip was edited in a way that took her comments out of context, then repackaged them into a narrative dripping with racial tension. Something Caitlyn had never even hinted at in her actual statements.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
What followed was a chain reaction. Sponsors began privately reaching out to reaffirm their support. Brands that had once paused campaigns out of caution resumed them with renewed intensity, some even using the moment as an opportunity to rally around her image of resilience. Nike, for instance, subtly included her jersey in a new promo run. No words needed, just presence.
Will Caitlin Clark ever be paid by the WNBA what she's really worth to that league? And Aaron said, I don't think that's possible. She's part of a larger player body. They all need to be paid more. She should be recognized for what she has done and what she's brought to the league from an economic standpoint. It's as simple as that. And, a lot of people had a lot of things to say about this. She also went on to say that she's very, very hopeful for the current CBA negotiations and pushing the line forward on player salaries. And the most important thing has always been getting WNBA players paid for what they do on the court. And so it's important to note that, obviously she's not an agent just for Caitlin. She has a lot of WNBA players underneath her as well. And to me, as I understand that Caitlin is, one of her clients, probably, I don't want to say her biggest one, but definitely one that she focuses a lot on, I'm sure. And so she's going to say this. And a lot of people had things to say about positioning just Caitlin Clark, which I agree with, because she's not the only player that brought in revenue. She's not the only player who's bringing in eyes. She's brought in a lot. Her impact is great, but you could say the same thing for the entire rookie class that came in last year.
Fans showed up at games in Let Caitlyn Play shirts, a not-so-subtle nod to the chaos she'd endured. The WNBA, which had once seemed uncertain how to position her amid the controversy, suddenly leaned all the way in. Her face was back on banners, her name returned to headline status, and media coverage began focusing on her gameplay rather than the gossip swirling around her.
Angel Reese shows up to the Super Bowl.
So it looked like Angel Reese could be seeking attention at this year's Super Bowl.
And you guys never disappoint. The internet does not miss when it comes to Angel Reese.
Caitlyn looked like $1 million at the Super Bowl. Real professional. Caitlyn looked like somebody our kids could, inspire to watch. There's a big difference between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And I'm done talking about it.
Angel Reese fans are celebrating another double-double. And I do understand a double-double from her and a win, missing your shots.
And Caitlyn, she didn't say much, but she didn't have to. Every shot she hit, every record she broke, was a direct counterpunch to the false image that had been painted of her. The court had become her statement, and while the lawsuit continues to loom in the background, its details tightly managed by lawyers,
I cannot believe this is actually a clip that somebody put out to try to make her look good. This makes her look terrible. I'm shocked. That was pathetic. And then finally, she makes the layup. We're celebrating that? Really?
What's clear is that Caitlin Clark flipped the script. In an age where athletes are often reduced to controversy for clout, she turned the scandal into a spotlight and used it to show the world exactly who she is. Not a headline, not a pawn, but a fighter, a game changer, and most importantly, someone who refuses to let lies define her legacy.
Caitlin Clark's jersey retirement was huge. It was a huge event. Yes, AJ Wilson's jersey retirement was on the exact same day. There was no question about it.
What was crazy about this, the numbers were much better than NBA legend Kobe Bryant's jersey retirement ceremony on December 18, 2017. On Iowa versus USC, February 3rd, was also the second most watched game in NCAA history, just by her going to the game.
Caitlin Clark didn't just respond, she rewrote the rules. What started as a reckless media smear spiraled into a cultural reckoning, and instead of breaking under the weight of it, she rose higher. She didn't beg for sympathy or spiral into scandal. She showed up, lawyered up, and let her game do the talking.
Caitlin Clark. Agent named Aaron Kane is calling for higher WNBA salaries in the midst of the WNBA. It is the Caitlin Clark effect, I do believe, that has helped to elevate the entire league. So when you look at the salaries league-wide, including Caitlin Clark's, they're very embarrassing. Caitlin Clark was just paid over $78,000 this past year as her salary. When you look at what the NBA players are making, nowhere close. Like, not even a drop in the bucket. $78,000, come on. For a professional athlete, come on. We don't really need to say more than that.
And now, the same outlets that tried to twist her story are being forced to respect it. Whether the lawsuit ends in court or behind closed doors, one thing is clear. Caitlin Clark sent a message to every journalist, every commentator, every network. If you come for her with lies, be ready to face the truth. Loud, legal, and undeniable.
Most points by a point guard in a season in WNBA history. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. Most points by a rookie in WNBA history. Most assists by a rookie in the history of the WNBA. First WNBA rookie to record 2 triple-doubles. First triple-double by a rookie in WNBA history. First triple-double in Fever history. The first player to be named WNBA Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month in the same month. First player in WNBA history with 20 or more points, 15 or more assists, and 5 or more rebounds in a game. She won Rookie of the Month 4 times. Eastern Conference Player of the Week 3 times. Single season rookie record for assists. Single season rookie record for 3-pointers. Single game record for assists, 19. Franchise record for most double-doubles, 3-pointers. Career 10 or more assists in a game. Franchise record for most career 10 or more assists in a game. Fastest WNBA player to reach 100 3-pointers. She did it in 34 games. Most assists by a rookie in a WNBA All-Star game, for which she received the most fan votes ever, 700,000 of those. Fastest player to reach 350 points and 150 assists to start a season, regardless of years in the league. People will say, pay more attention to the other folks. Like, she couldn't do it herself. You know, LeBron has teammates, Jordan had teammates. I understand.
I think that experiencing it, I love Caitlin Clark fans, but Caitlin Clark fans is different. They like, she square shots in the gang, like different. They are very passionate people, and like they gonna ride or die. Like,
listen, Caitlin Clark is a god to her friends. She does no wrong. Do not play. Do not play with her fans.
Let's just say C Square. I'm happy I'm on the right end of it.
We on the right end of the stick, baby. Because
I hate to be.
Listen,
because
they love us right now. But if we go right left, it's over for us.
Caitlin Clark fans, I love you back. I promise. Please stop. Like her fan, but like the one thing I would say about Caitlin Clark fans that I can't appreciate, they'll go anywhere she go.
Oh, they gonna travel. She gonna travel.
And
right there, right there.
I just think like it's super dope though, because it's like they will literally go anywhere she go, and so she's built that kind of platform. I'm like, damn, that's lit.